Welcome to another day of school. As you can look up on our daily ticker, we are winding down the school year already, and we only have 74 days left. Now, I want to make sure that I make this very explicit. 74 is a whole number, okay? We have 74 days left of school. Now, when I say out of something, that's when it becomes a fraction. So I could say 74 days is how much out of a year? What percent of it is out of a year? Then I would put a line, and how many days is a whole year cut up into? Then I would say 74 out of 360. If I said 74 days out of a whole school year, well, that's 180. Now it would be out of 180. If I said, like, for the beginning of our school year and we were counting down 100 days until we had one party and that whole party was cut up into 100 pieces, then it was 74 out of 100. So just know that this 74 represents a whole number until it is put into a word problem or expressed in the terms of being part of a whole. Once it becomes part of a whole, then it becomes the numerator. Okay, I just want to make sure we got that clear. So we've been doing out of the school year, we've been doing 74. Well, let's take, you're 10 years old, right? And, well, at least most of you are 10 years old. So we could say 74 is what percent of your life? Well, let's assume that your birthday is today and you just turned 10 years old. That means you've gone around this sun 365 days and a quarter, correct? So we're just going to kind of forget the quarter and just know that it's 360 days. We're not going to be so technical. So how many days would that be? Well, we know if you're 10 years old and you've gone around 10 times, you just add the 0. So it would be 360 for each year, and then you add another 0. So if I were to ask or propose a question, 74 is how much out of is the key, out of your life, assuming that you're 10 years old today, that would be 360 for each year, and then I would add another place value to multiply by 10. So you've been alive 3,600 days if today was your birthday. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go into our laboratory of our whiteboard here, and let's figure this out. So we have 74 days. And what percent is it out of a 10-year-old whose birthday is today? That would be 3,600 days. Now, like I told you yesterday, whenever you see a fraction, it is the same thing as a percent, just written in a different way. We know that it is also a division problem, and you can see that these symbols come from the fraction. But you also know that I've told you that I don't like dealing with these big numbers. We want to simplify fractions, so whenever we use them in an or apply them in a mathematical equation, we're being more simple about it. We don't want to start multiplying and dividing by 3,600 or 7. So I know that both of these, both the numerator and the denominator are even, so I'm just going to cut them in half. What's half of 74? That would be 37, correct? And what's half of 3,600? I know this is 18. Is that correct? No, I think this would be a 4. Just to double check, 5 plus 5 is 10. Yep, okay, we got it. Okay, I had to do a little strange extra mental math there. That still is not a friendly number, is it? Now, does 7 go into this? I don't know, but it's worth checking out because that's a big old number. 1,845 divided by 7, 2, 14, 44. That'd be 5, no, 6, 40, 42, 25. No, 7 does not go into 25. Okay, kids, well, we're doing it, which is okay. So the equivalent fraction of 74 3,600ths is 37 1,845. Okay, I'm just going to rewrite it over here so I have room. Now, before we do anything, any sort of equation with division, with fractions, you always want to estimate. Three possible things. Is it almost nothing? Is it almost a half? Or is it almost a whole? That way, when we get an answer, we can compare it to our estimation. Well, I know that half of 1,845 is about 922.5 or something like that. But it's a big number, way off. 37 is much closer to zero than it is to that halfway mark. So my guess is, not my guess, my estimation would be about zero. So let's go ahead and solve this and find out how much 74 days is in relationship, or what percent it is of your whole life. So we read it from top to bottom. 37 divided by 1,845. Now we know we cannot put that number into this small number. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to cut our number into 100 pieces, because percent means out of 100. And the way you can cut up any number by 100 is you just put your place value. You start your place value at 0, and you add your two place values, tenths and hundredths. There. Now I cut 37 into 100 pieces. I want to make sure my decimal point comes straight up so I can keep all of my place values congruent. Well, how many times does 1,845 go into this number? Let's kind of round, because I don't want to. I know that 3,700 front end estimates to about 4,000. And I know that 1,845 front end estimates to 2,000. So I like to cancel out my zeros, and I know there's 1,000 over here, and 1,000 divided by 1,000 is 1, so it won't make any difference if I just. So I know 2 goes into 4 2 times. Well, there's my good guess. I'm going to make some room for me, and I'm going to put 1,845 times 2, 10, 8, 9, 16, 2, 3, 3,690. Oh, you see how that estimation works? How good that is? 3,690. And when I subtract, I get 10. So I don't have anything here, nothing in 37, nothing into 370, and I know this goes in 2 times. Now there is a remainder of 10, but it is so minuscule. This is where I'll also estimate, is it worth to keep going? Could I get this to about 5? Could I multiply this number by 5 and come up with this number down here or close to it, so I could see if I wanted to continue so I could round up? It doesn't. So I'm just going to ignore that for our particular problem. So here's what we have. We have decimal point 02. That was my answer. Now on your SBAC test, they might say that what is 0.02 written as a percent? Is it 20%? Is it 2%? Is it 0.02%? And you should know that this is 2 out of 100. Just like we had written up here on our second day of school, 2% was the same thing as 2 out of 100. So you should know that this is written as 2 out of 100 or 2%. These are congruent. So that's the amount of school we have left. The amount of school we have left is about, because most of you, your birthdays aren't today, we have the school year, the percent of your life. You have about 2% of your life left to go till the end of the school year. See how much fun we can have with percents, fractions, and decimals?